Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at number 6, which is find the LCM of 12, 8, and 24. Before you begin these types of problems, it's always a good idea to find the biggest number in the set, which in this case is 24, and ask yourself, is this a multiple of the two smaller numbers? So how do you figure that out? You say to yourself, does 8 times anything equal 24? And since 8 times 3 equals 24, you would say that 24 is a multiple of 8. Now, is 24 a multiple of 12? You would say that it is because 12 times 2 would give you 24. So the lowest multiple of 24, if you're listing out the multiples, the lowest multiple that could be in this list would be 24. So that means that you can use the shortcut that I taught you in class, which is if the bigger number is a multiple of the other two numbers, the bigger number is the LCM. Now, if that didn't make sense to you, then you would go ahead and proceed with listing out your factors, which is the recommended thing to do when you have three numbers and when the numbers are smaller. Because if the numbers get big, like the number 72 or something like that, then you might choose to try prime factorization. But when the numbers are small, just simply list out multiples. So 12 times 1 would be 12. 12 times 2 would be 24. 12 times 3 would be 36. 12 times 4 would be 48. And we're going to stop there. 8 times 1 would be 8. 8 times 2 would be 16. 8 times 3 would be 24. And we're going to stop there because we have a match so far, but we have to make sure that that's a match in the third set. 24 times 1 is 24. Now, do you see that 24 is a match in all three sets? So the LCM of these two numbers would be 24. Now, if we were going to attempt to use prime factorization to get the same answer, it's a little bit tricky, and I don't even recommend using the Venn diagram with three numbers. Can get a little bit tricky. We can do it, but people don't know where to put the numbers. So we're going to look at a different way that you can use the prime factorization and still get the number 24. So I did the prime factorization for 12, and I'm just going to write it over here. The prime factorization for 12, you can see it. I'm going to put them in order. We have 2 times 2 times 3. So again, that was 2 times 2 times 3. The prime factorization for 8 was 2 times 2 times 2. So I'm just going to list it again here in green. And the prime factorization for 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. All right, now rather than trying to work with the Venn diagram, what I recommend you do instead is look for what I call a triple whammy match. That's something that matches in all three. So see how this matches in all three? So we would write that down. Now, if we were going to use the Venn diagram, we would put the ones that match in all three in here. Now we have another what I call triple whammy match. Do you see right here? We have triple whammy 2s. Now, if I was attempting to use the Venn diagram, I would put that right here because it matches in all three. Then you look for numbers that match in 2 of them. So I call them double whammy matches. So we have a double whammy match right here. So I would write that down. Now that was a match between the 8 and the 24. So if I was going to do this in the Venn diagram, I would put that right here. And then I have some other numbers, right? I have my matching 3s. See, these are a match, what I call double whammy match. So I would write that right here. Now, that was a match between the 12 and the 24, so I would write that number right here. Now, if I multiply, we already know that the answer is 24. But if I multiply these numbers together, all the numbers that I have written right here, if I did 2 times 2, that would be 4. And if I did 2 times 3, that would equal 6. And if I do this times this, I get 24. Now, I could also just multiply all the numbers that I have in my Venn diagram, and if I multiply all those numbers, I'm still going to get 24. But do you see how it's a little tricky to place them correctly in the triple Venn diagram? So that's why I like this strategy better. So let's kind of recap. Look for triple whammies. I wrote down, here's a triple whammy, I wrote down. Here's a triple whammy, I wrote down. Look for double whammies. Double whammy there, I wrote it down. Double whammy here, I wrote it down. Now, if there were any what I call single whammies, then you would include those, but this one didn't have any single whammies. So you just multiply all those numbers together, and boom, you have your answer. All right, but hopefully you have a preferred method of how to find the prime factorization and you feel comfortable doing both methods. Either make the list to find the LCM or use the prime factorization to find the LCM.